Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Spiritual Safe House. My name is Laura, and today I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit more about my program specifically. And in this video, we're going to just focus on talking about month one. I'm going to go through each of the weeks, talk to you about what we focus on during that week, why I think it's important, and what you're going to be getting out of that. So I also kind of wanted to go over some of the terminology that's on my website, because I've been seeing that, like, some people, there's so much spiritual terminology out there, and I just kind of wanted to focus a little bit more on exactly what I'm talking about in my website, what those things mean. A lot of the things that I talk about might mean the same thing, that you're familiar hearing it in another way. So I just wanted to clear some of that up for you guys. So my program, it's a spiritual development program. It's 12 weeks long, and each week we focus on, a different aspect of something that's under the spiritual umbrella. So now, you can come into my program if you have, a big spiritual issue that you want to, sort out or work out, or, if you want to reach a different level of spirituality. Spirituality is different for everyone. So what I like to do is I like to, you know, make this very individualized to whatever you want. So one of the first things we're going to talk about is what spirituality means to you, and how you want to incorporate that into your life. Now, with that said, I also like to tell people that you don't necessarily have to have a big spiritual issue to join my program either. If you are having an issue in another area of your life, that you feel like you need extra support with, that you feel like a coach would be beneficial for, but you also like the idea of bringing spirituality into into that kind of treatment that you're going to be going through. I don't really like to use the word treatment. That seems very like therapy to me. But during this 12 weeks, if you feel like spirituality is something that would benefit you from working on, while you're working on whatever issue it is, while you're focusing on whatever issue it is that you're bringing to the table, then this program is also for you. So just to keep in mind, that I take clients that, that have spiritual problems, have spiritual, things that they're trying to work through. But I also take people who have everyday issues that, may be in regards to relationships or money or spirituality, anything like that. But if you like the idea of bringing spirituality, in as a practice in your life, and we can use those tools to get you to the where you want to be in life, then this program is for you as well. So on my website, I talk a lot about, 5D consciousness, and, working through this program to reach a higher consciousness of living. So what exactly does that mean? So we have, 3D consciousness, which is living in, a lot of negativity and self-doubt, feeling like that's the only way to live, kind of like the Debbie Downer part of our lives. 4D consciousness is when we are getting to a point where we feel that we're kind of, awakening. You use this word, probably hear this word a lot, that you're awakening. And it's really just about being more aware of the negativity and wanting to make a choice to change that part of your life. Okay, so 4D consciousness is the awareness and, purposefully making that choice to want to change in your life. Now, 5D consciousness is living every day from a place of love and non-judgment. It's really just having that feeling of, being faced with a negative situation and you having the ability to go through that situation being less reactive and more understanding to what's going on. Okay, so bringing that awareness to yourself that we are faced with negative situations so that we can learn from them. Okay, and instead of being like, oh my God, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me, how am I going to get through this, blah blah blah, you know instead of reacting in that kind of way, or reacting and becoming very anxious or even depressed, kind of perseverating over this issue for days or weeks or however long, instead of doing those things, being able to say, step back from the situation for a second and say, okay, what can I learn from this? What can I get out of this? How can I help myself through this? And depending on the situation, of course, this can be extremely difficult, extremely difficult. So these kinds of things can go from very minor circumstances to very extreme circumstances. But the whole point of my program is to, help you to get to a point where you feel like you have the confidence that you don't have to be so reactive, that you feel like you do have more control over your life, that you have more peace in your life despite negative situations coming around. I want you to be able to, handle situations and feel physically, emotionally, and mentally that you have more tranquility in your life, that's how you can handle these things. So that's the whole point, of this program, is that I want you to be able to walk through life and be faced with challenges, and have the confidence and feel the empowerment, enough that you can handle these, with peace and love, and still feel that tranquil place in your life. Okay, so moving on just a little bit about what month one is. So, month one in my program is all about getting clear on exactly what it is that you want. Okay, so during the first week, and now I will send you a couple things to kind of fill out to get the ball rolling before we actually have our first call together, but and we will go over those things. But so week one is really about your spiritual priorities. Okay, so what exactly is it that you want? What does spirituality mean to you? What does spirituality look like in all aspects of your life, in your family life, with your friends, with your money, with your work, in your leisure time? In things that you find fun for you, for your hobbies and things like that. What does spirituality look like in all of those aspects of your life? And it's interesting because a lot of those things we might not even think about it. So for example, your work. If you work in a corporate job that really has nothing to do with spirituality, you might think that you don't bring aspects of spirituality with you when you're working. But I will be able to show you, if that is a big, if your work is a big trigger for you, and if that's something that you want to bring to the table to work on during the program, how can we bring these aspects of spirituality into your being enough that you can take them to your workplace and be able to work out of more of a state of love and calmness, and to not let things at work frazzle you so much, not let things bother you so much. Don't make that, to help to not make work such a negative place to be. Okay, so that's kind of what we're gonna work on. So we're gonna look at each of those areas of your life. You know, how much you feel spirituality makes an impact, where you want spirituality to make more of an impact, and how we can bring that in for you. Okay, so week two, we are going to talk about SMART goals. Now, we're going to take those priorities, take those aspects of your life, and we're going to make goals for the most ones that you feel, are going to be the most beneficial over the next 12 weeks. So, I know for me, kind of picking a lot of things at once can be kind of overwhelming. So I would suggest maybe like 3 to 5 goals. Like any more than that can get really, really overwhelming, especially when, you're only working in like a 12-week period. That's not really that much time. So you want to make sure that you are able to give each of those goals enough specific time, so that you can actually, give them the love and the attention that you need to see those changes over the next 12 weeks. Okay, so that's what I would suggest, but it's completely up to you. But SMART goals are goals that we want to make sure are specific. Okay, they want to be measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. That's what the SMART goals stand for. So, what is the point of that? Like, why do you want to make sure that your goals are all of those things? So, I just give for you an example that, if let's say one thing that you want to work on in, bringing more spirituality into your life, or bringing more peace into your life, is that you want to practice meditation. So, there's a big difference between making your goal, I want to meditate more, as opposed to making your goal, I'm going to meditate for 10 minutes a day and then journal about my experience. Okay? So they are two goals, right? Generally the same thing, but the second makes much, much more of an impact. Okay? So just saying that you want to meditate versus saying that you want to meditate for 10 minutes a day and then journal about your experience, you're going to get a much bigger impact out of the second. Okay, so that's why we're going to look at your goals very specifically, so that you can get the most out of this. Okay, so week 3, we're going to talk about mindfulness. Now, I feel that mindfulness is such an important part of bringing peace into your life. Because such a big piece of mindfulness is practicing being, non-judgmental towards yourself, towards others, towards situations that are happening right now. So we'll go back to the work example. So, if work is a place that you are seriously stressed and you feel like you could really bring some spirituality in to kind of keep your cool and, not make it such a negative place, by practicing mindfulness, you could, let's say that you're in a meeting and, at work, and you really feel yourself like you are not having this, something's making you really angry, somebody's talking and you're just completely fed up, you just really feel it inside yourself. If you just take a minute, and nobody will even know that you're doing it, but if you just take a minute and, really focus on what is happening right now, the physiological feelings that you're feeling of this anxiety or frustration, you know, being mindful of your thoughts, what's going on in your head, okay, and then making the conscious choice to release those things without being judgmental towards yourself. Okay, I'm having feelings of anxiety, I'm having negative thoughts about what's going on right now. I can feel it in myself. My palms are starting to get sweaty. I feel like my face is starting to get red. Just noticing those things, and then, being able to release them, which is something that I am going to teach you about, okay? Being able to release those and just come back to a more centered place, and, not judging yourself for having those feelings, okay? So working on being able to release those things and some techniques to do, that's something that I'm going to go over with you guys, okay? So that is going to be week 3. Now, week 4, okay, which will sum up the first month that we're gonna go through, is about introducing the chakras to you and also journaling. So we're gonna kind of work on 2 things that week. So why do I think that this is important? So the chakras, and if you are somebody that is into spirituality, and you have some kind of background or knowledge in this, you probably have heard these words before, and even if you didn't, we will go over this. Okay, hi, how are you? Okay, so we'll go over that. If you don't know anything about the chakras, that's fine, and we will do it in a very very easy way. I have blog posts and YouTube videos on this, very, very simple. But I think that going over the chakras, and I thought that it was important enough to bring it into the program, because this helps you to get more in tune with what's going on with you energetically. It helps you to understand more of what's going on with you physically and emotionally, okay? Because all of these things are connected. So if you're able to better, feel what's going on with you, energetically, then that will help you to, like we just talked about, being mindful, being aware of your priorities and things like that. Keeping yourself in check what's going on with you and how that is relating to your goals. Okay, all of this is intertwined. So being really in check with what's going on with you is going to help you to be able through this entire program. Okay, especially when we get into a little bit more of the meditation pieces. We're going to do some like body scans and things like that, a little bit more energy work. So knowing what's going on with you in that way will really help you to be able to be less reactive and more understanding, which is the whole point of this, to throughout the program, and then being able to take that with you after the program, which is my goal for you. Okay, now why is journaling important? So I really am a big fan of seeing things on paper. Okay, I think it makes a huge difference. You can listen to all the audio that you want and watch all the videos that you want, but I really do believe, and maybe this is just because it's made an impact in my life, but I really do feel like putting things on paper and saying them out like that can make a big difference. So that's why through this program, I'm going to encourage you to, write things down. We have homework assignments each week. And, the more you get in the flow of journaling, things will come out that you're like, I don't even know where this is coming from, and when that happens, I encourage you to just let it flow. Okay, just let it flow. Then you can go back and reread it and try to analyze it then. But the other great thing about journaling is that if you get in a space where you're feeling kind of negative and you're trying to just get it out, you can get it all out on paper. Then you can rip it up or you can scribble all over it. And doing these kinds of things can be really cathartic. You don't have to keep the paper, but it can be, it can really feel like a release. So I like to suggest that to people, that if you're really struggling with something, you feel like you're blocked and not able to move forward, that you can get it out in that way, and then you can just rip it all up. You can scribble all over the paper or do whatever you need to do to get rid of it, and throw it all away. It just really feels like a good way to symbolize the release of getting rid of that negativity. Okay, so those are the four things that we're going to go over during month one. Okay. Hey, Beth, how are you? Okay. So, once again, month one is all about getting clear on what you want. Okay. And, so week one, we're going to talk about your spiritual priorities. What's important to you? What you want to, bring more of in your life, what you want to get rid of, how you can bring spirituality in, and what you can do to get yourself to a point where you are feeling more peace in your life. Okay. Week two, we're going to talk about SMART goals. Okay. Why, why it's important to make very specific goals as to more vague and general goals. Okay. And, how you can look at all of those priorities and pick maybe like 3 to 5 things, maybe less to the 3 range, but how you can pick some things that you want to focus on. Okay, so week 3, we're going to talk about mindfulness, why that's important, why it's important to stay centered, and be non-judgmental to yourself. And during week 4, we're going to talk about the intro to the chakras, what that means, how you can get a little bit more in tune with, the energy in yourself, and then focusing on journaling, because that's going to be a big piece in, during this program, and writing things down and, just getting it out and organizing things, so you can get the best out of this. Okay. So once again, this is all about using spirituality to create peace in your life. I want you to be able to, walk through life, whether it's in positive situations or in negative situations, and feel the confidence to be able to still have mental, emotional, and physical tranquility in your life, okay? So that you don't have to get so frazzled or upset about things, okay? That you feel like you have the spiritual tools that you need to, really get a grasp on life, and to be able to positively look at situations that are stressful and see what you can learn from them, okay? So be less reactive and more understanding. That's what the goal is, okay? And I'm telling you, by focusing on those things and by bringing that into your life, you will see a huge transformation, a huge transformation. And that's my goal for you, okay? So once again, this was month one. I'm going to go over month two and month three just a little bit more specifically in another video, just so I can, not have these be too long here. Okay. And if you guys have any questions about the program, any questions about one of the, a specific week, and you want a little bit more information about it, you can PM me on Facebook, or you can email me through my website, thespiritualsafehouse.com. Okay, I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions. And if you feel like this is something that you really just want to, jump on board with, then you can just let me know. We can start anytime, whenever you're ready. Okay, and like I said, if you have more questions about this, just let me know. If you feel like you're kind of on the fence right now, but you would want to know a little bit more about one of the other months, and I haven't talked, in depth about it yet, I can answer any questions for you. Okay? So I want to thank you guys. For all your participation, all the time in my groups and everything. We've been having a lot of great conversations in the Spiritual Safe House group on Facebook. So I just want to thank you guys for all of that. You've been absolutely great, and I will talk to you guys next time. Okay, about month two. All right, bye guys.